welcome. Hello, Nicole. Thank you very much for joining me today. My name is Michele Jutrisa, and I'm an independent demonstrator here in New South Wales, Australia. Now, I'm not quite sure whether it's my eyes, my glasses, but I look a little bit blurry. So I hope I'm a little bit more in focus for you than I feel that I am for me, but that's okay. So today we're going to have a little bit of a play with the paper pumpkin. A couple of weeks ago I showed you the 3 cards. Now let me just bring up my desk view so then we can see what I'm talking about. So here we are. These are the 3 cards I made a few weeks ago using the April paper pumpkin kit. So what I thought I'd do today is I'm going to make up 2 cards using products from this kit. They're going to be fun fold cards. So the layouts are going to be a little bit similar, but I'm going to throw in some different cardstock, some different dies, and we're going to create 2 fun folds. So the cards that I'm going to be looking at, I'm going to remove this one, is going to be these 2 cards, and we're going to play with these in a different way. So I'll pop these to one side so we can come back to them later on. Now, please excuse me, I do have to have a drink here. I've still got this terrible cough I've had since last year, and it is affecting my sinuses greatly. Okay, so let's get moving on. So what I've done, I've pulled out a piece of Peaceful Pine. Now I have already embossed this. Now I have used, and I'm not quite sure where I've put it, this is a embossing folder that has been deleted for the moment. Oh, here we go. It is part of the Basics 3D embossing folders. Now these we did have last year. They have now been deleted from our products that are available, but I still love this particular embossing folder here just because I love a little bit of texture. I love to use layers. So if you've watched me, I usually have matted layers, but with this particular card, we're only really got 1 layer, so I really wanted to add a little bit of texture to this. So I have run this through my embossing folder. So I've cut this at 10.5 by 28. So I've made it a little bit smaller, and the reason for that is that I wanted it to be able to fit into the envelopes that come with the paper pumpkin kit. So I wanted them to fit into there. So I have made this, I'm working with the same width as I normally use, but I am working with a shorter depth. So it's only 14 centimetres on the half. So I've cut this at 10.5 by 28 and scored it at 14. I've popped this into my embossing folder, which I have here. Popping this in, and let me just make sure I've got this the right way around. Taking it down, right down to the bottom, but there is a little line where the design finishes across there. So I've taken that right to the bottom of that line as far as I possibly can and run that through like that through my cut and emboss machine. So I've used plate 1 and plate 4 because this is a 3D embossing folder. It does mean that my embossing goes past my 14 centimetre mark, but that doesn't matter, and that's what I'm left with. Okay, so I've done this earlier just so then you don't have to watch me do all of that. Now I am going to be using this particular card as my inspiration. So we're going to be doing a layout very much similar to this, but I am going to make a few changes to it. So what we're going to do, now this is a fun fold, as I said, and I have got an example here of one that I was playing with. So this is a card I saw probably earlier this year, late last year on Instagram, and I really love the idea of how this particular works. So I've been looking for the right layout to be able to use this on. So here we are. I'm going to use this one because we've got circles, so that's going to work really well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've got the largest stylish shape circle here. Hello, Joan. How are you? Thanks for joining. And we're going to cut this out in the center of our card. Between the folded edge of my card and the top of my circle, I need around about 2 centimeters. So I'm just going to move this out of the road. And for the time being, I'm just going to move my scratch paper out of the road as well, because I am going to bring in my large cut and emboss machine. Yes, it is great. We get to play with this, Nicole. I'm so excited about having it. I must admit, I did get the dies for this one the other day. I'm just wondering if I've got them. Finding one of the dies is probably, I'll show it to you before we finish. One of the dies is a little bit large. It's the one that goes with this particular product. Haven't quite worked it out yet how I'm going to use it, because I only just unpacked it from the box yesterday. So I haven't even really had a chance to look at them, but they are quite large. So I need those 2 plates. Just trying to find my other 2 plates here. Here we go. I've got them all. So just to go back to this, I need to put this down around about 2 centimeters from the top. So I'm going to use my ruler and my Post-it note tape. And I'm just going to turn that on the side, so I hope you can still see. So I'm going to line this up in the middle, and I'm just going to do this by eye for the moment, but I want around about the top of this circle no more than 2 centimeters. So that's where roughly I want it, and I'm just going to move it across a little bit. Just double check. Yep, that's 2 centimeters. So I'm going to use a piece of, just going to let that go. I'll have to come back and measure that again. I need a couple of pieces of tape just to hold this in place. That's about right there. So I'm going to pop one there and one there. I'm just going to, for interest's sake, I think I need to move it across just a tad more. So let's just lift this up. Whoops. Move it across a little bit more that way. Bring it back down a little bit. That's about right there. About 1.5 there. I got a bit less on that side. And the reason why I'm trying to make this in the middle as I possibly can is we're going to put a mat around this circle. So let's pop all that to there and grab our plate and pop that on top. But there, we don't need that to cut all the way through. We only just want to cut that top section, not all the way through. So we want to lay that, sandwich all of that together like that. And I'm just holding all this gingerly. Gently turn that around because I don't want anything to move. Pop that through there, and we're going to die cut that. Now I am probably going to flatten a little bit of that embossing. Probably should have embossed that before I cut that circle, but I didn't quite think of that. And I also didn't want that circle to stretch. So let's hopefully, fingers crossed, I haven't lost too much of my texture on there, which is good. Has flattened it a bit, but I haven't lost too much. So it's up to you. Probably a lot easier if I had done this, if I had thought more doing this after I cut the circle out. So And I've now ended up that just over 2 centimetres. Probably could have taken it up a bit higher. That's okay. We'll work with what we've got. Okay then. So just going to knead this circle again. And this time we're going to grab our mat and our circle piece here. And I'm going to layer these two together, one on top of the other. And I'm going to pop my die over the top, because the circle with the image on it is just a little bit too big. But I want that mat as well. So let's just hold all of that in place. Bring in our cut and emboss again. Hello, Marie. So you've got a nice evening, but sunny and snow is coming down slowly. Oh, I hope you don't get any flooding. Well, we're starting to cool down here at the moment. So it's autumn and the trees are starting to change colour. It's probably cooling down a little bit more than what we normally do at this time of the year. So I could expect another heat wave here at any time. Usually we don't until the Anzac Day, which is the 25th of April. We don't get it really cold, so which is about another week away. So we're sort of getting it cool a little bit early. So let's just take all of this off and we'll pop these plates away, because I think that is all the die cutting we're going to be doing. Hello, Lorraine. How are you? Oh, PJ Day sounds nice. It sounds really good. Okay. So let's separate all of these. We don't need that little bit. And I'm just going to run my bone folder around inside of this circle. So we do have a little bit of a bigger mat than I would normally work with, but that's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this one and we're going to adhere that around there. Now I feel like I have got my mat slightly wider down the bottom. I don't think I quite had it on square enough, so I'm going to try to put that down the bottom. And let's just put some adhesive around here. Now you could have just cut, well, I've used the largest die in the stylish shapes, so I didn't look to see how the I'm trying to think of the other one, what they're called, with the circles. I think they might be slightly bigger, so you probably could have made another mat if you wanted to out of pecan pie cardstock rather than doing what I'm doing here. So that piece is going to go there. So I've got my widest bits down here because I'm going to hide some of those. So there's our card front. Now these two pieces are stuck together, so we just want to separate these. Don't need that piece, so that can just pop over there. We just want this piece. Now I've got here a piece of cardstock that I've cut 2 centimetres by 8 centimetres, and I've scored it at every 2 centimetres along. So we're just going to take that and fold that, and then that's just going to form, if we put all the sides together, a cube. First off, what we're going to do, add it on our glue, is I've got a piece of pecan pie cardstock and a piece of basic white. and I'm going to adhere these two together because this is going to be my card insert. So normally this would be the last thing I put into my card, but this time it's going to go in now. So make sure they're adhered together and you've got plenty of adhesion there. I would have thought you guys would have been finished with all your snow since we're sort of heading into our snow season. You're usually heading out, so that's quite interesting. And we're going to pop that on the inside and then line that all up. Just give that a really good rub down, make sure that glue is spread nicely. Now with this piece here, what we're going to do is we want to adhere this piece to fit in here like so. So we're just going to put glue on these back two portions here. Not too much. Now, I want to get, I'm not going to tuck that one in just yet. I want that piece to go to the top of, or the bottom of that circle. And then this one here is going to fold in and come down. So we're just going to form like a little box just there like that. We just want to hold it down until we know that that is going to be, just doesn't like it. I'm just bringing that down to the fold a little bit more rather than right up to the top of that. So I've just brought it down so it's with that fold because I want that to open up. That's still not happy with me. Sometimes you have to cut some of this away a little bit. And if I can find my scissors, I'm just going to trim that. Just a little bit down. So I want that to fold in there nice and flat like that. So when we get this piece here, that's going to sit in there. Now I'm thinking that that's probably, because it's a little bit lighter than cardstock, a bit lighter. So I'm going to grab this circle here and I'm going to adhere these two together because it's not the same. And by using the green, it's going to match on the inside. So we want to place that into there where we want that to go. Pop some glue onto that little white piece, just what we can see there. Hello, Katrina, how are you? Make sure we've got that nice and squared into the circle there, and we're going to slip that right in place and just hold that down for a couple of seconds just to let that adhere there. So now when we open our card, everything is in the right position. What we should do is open our card and we have our image sitting there just like that. Okay, so it's just a nice fun fold. So now we're going to decorate this card. We want to do a little bit of stamping. Now, as I said, I am going to be decorating it a little bit similar to this one. So I've got my little hanger here with my white piece that goes on the top. And I just realised when I grabbed, let me just grab when I mounted my stickers on, there's one sticker I didn't put on there, and that's this little one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put happy birthday on all of these cards because here's our new ink pad. I keep trying to flip it like we do our old ones. It's going to take a little while. So these are magnetic and the lid just comes straight off. It is beautiful, but it will take me a little while. I'll probably struggle with trying to push it up. I'm going to start off with inking up. And I didn't put my scratch paper back down again. That's okay. And I'm just going to ink up the happy birthday in the peaceful pine. Yeah, I love this green too. It is just lovely. And we're just going to pop a border of this across there. And a little border up there. Let's pop our lid back onto that. Now I'm just going to bring in my scratch paper just for the fact that I want to stamp something else onto here, and I'm going to need this. Let's just get rid of all my bits and pieces. Rubbish everywhere. Okay, so what I want to do is, because with this one here, we had these pieces stamped on it. We're not doing that on here, so I'm going to use the crumb cake and I'm going to stamp these onto here. So I want to stamp off and I'm just going to stamp straight on there, just so it's got a hint of it on there. So let's adhere these two together. And now we're going to decorate this. Now when we're decorating this, we're only going to be gluing onto here. We're not going to be gluing onto our piece in the middle. So I've grabbed all the pieces that were in the last one, but I've grabbed another piece out because I do like this and it needs something to go across, but I'm not quite sure whether I want to pop that one on or not. Because that is going to go, it's going to go underneath there. Now with my last card like this one, I got that piece up. I felt too high because I was trying to give a bit of gap here. So I still want to give gap, but I'm trying to make sure that I don't go up too high onto that. Now I don't have very much room to adhere this down. This is going to actually get adhered onto our card here. So I'm going to grab my dimensionals. And I'm going to pop 2 on the bottom here and 1 about halfway up. Yeah, I'm thinking the wood grain too. I quite like the wood grain. And I'm going to, excuse me a second, this is just bugging me. When you run these through an embossing folder, they do stretch. And this is just stretched. This front piece has stretched a little bit. I just didn't want to do layers. So it's just not quite sitting as sharply as I'd like. So I'm just going to fold that. That's a little bit better. So I want that to sit about there. So again, that's sort of floating above it. Yep, I think I like the wood grain as well, and I want that wood grain again. It's only just going to sit on the side, so I'm just going to use these side pieces here, and I'm just going to pop. It's just the right width. A little bit on each, on the very tips of each end. I probably could have actually used a mini one, giving myself a little bit more clearance. And we want this to go over the top, just sort of, whoops, just over the top of those little blue tabs on the sign, but attaching to there. Now I can see that sticking out from there, so maybe that's just pushed it in. So I've just used my scissors just to push that dimensional in a little bit. So now that's going to sit like that, and it's far enough underneath that cabin that I'm happy. And this little piece here is just sitting underneath now. I could put a glue dot underneath there to hold it down. I think I might just wait and see. I might even put a little bit of glue on there yet, but we'll see how we go. Okay, so let's grab our oars. Now, I do want to glue our oars together first. So I'm going to pop a little bit of glue on here. I knew I should have put that lid on. Don't want too much on there. Let's just pop that on there now, because we're going to pop this one over the top. Of that, just like so. And then hold those down so they're going to adhere. And then I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue just underneath this side of the jacket. Adhere that down over the top. Once we've got those adhered and we're happy with that, they're going to go onto there. Again, I just want to add dimensional to the bottom of the back of the vest. Let me just pick that up so I can see, and then to the back of one of those oars. Probably put another one just to make sure. Might use a piece from here, just over those oars and that vest, just there, just to hold all that together. Hi Felicity. Yeah, I have actually got a second one of this particular kit coming again, so I'm actually looking forward to getting that one as well. Now that's going to go a little bit of an angle just like that. Now what I want to do is grab just a scrap of cardstock. I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue on the back here and use this like a paintbrush, because I just want to pop a little bit of glue underneath those oars just to make sure that they stick to that piece. And I'll do that again on, put a bit more glue on there. Let's open this up. And I might have too much glue on here. Let's see if I can wipe a little bit of that off. We don't need too much. Just going to pop a little bit of glue on the back of that and just glue that down there. So there we go. There's our first card. Now what we can do, just to give this a little bit more on the inside. Actually, I'm going to use the crumb cake because we used the crumb cake on the front, but this time I'm not going to. And I'm just going to pop one right there, just to have a little bit of a decoration. So it's just a fun little fun fold. And because I have run this through an embossing machine and embossed this cardstock, it is very flimsy and light. So I just wasn't quite sure how this would go if I had too many layers on the front of it with die cutting all the circles. But anyway, it's just a fun little fun fold card, and it opens up and you've got that lovely picture on the inside. Now, things that I do and don't like about this myself personally. I probably could have brought this up a little bit higher, because I don't normally like to have my sentiment hanging down the bottom, but it's not too bad. The other thing I could have done was actually trim this down a little bit, because the happy birthday is a much smaller sentiment than if you were using the son or the dad. But anyway, it's still a nice fun card. How strong that would be, that'll still hold up quite well. It's just that there is a bit of, as you can see, there's a bit of warping and so forth in that particular card there. But as just a fun opening card, so you've still got that image in there to greet whoever receives that card. That is a lot of fun. Okay, hang on, we're going to make a second one. So the other card I was playing with is this one here, and making this one here also into a fun fold card. So let me bring in my bits and pieces for this one. Clear about a bit of that out of the road, and let's hope I've got it all here. So I'm going to use all the same sentiments, the same stamps and everything, but we're going to have a bit of a play with a fun fold on this one. So what I've done is I've cut a card base here, and I've cut it at the 14 centimetres in depth. As I said, that's just a suit with the envelopes that came with this. And it's 10.5 centimetres wide. And I've cut this here. I think I've cut 4 centimetres off the width. Yep, 4 centimetres. I'll make all the conversions and everything when I put this on my blog. So I'm left with a 6.5 centimetre piece here. I've taken the card base, the striped card base. Let me just grab one so I can show you. I've taken one of these card bases and I've cut a 6 centimetre strip, and I've cut it because this is already 14 centimetres wide, so I've cut it at 13.5. So this is 6 by 13.5. And what we're going to do here is we're going to adhere this to our card front. So we've just got a little bit of a border all the way around. Just like that. I've then got another piece of, put that on there so it doesn't, I've got another piece of Misty Moonlight, and I have cut this piece here at 12 by 9.5, and I have scored it at 9.5, and then just folded that piece back. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a little bit of glue on the back of this piece. Card reminds you of Rottnest Island. Quokka. Okay. That'll be fun. Thank you, Lorraine. And then we're going to adhere this one here onto our card, lining up that folded edge with the edge of our card there. And I'm just eyeballing it. And I don't mind if it's a bit narrower from here up than what it is from there down. So that's going to go just there like that, just to fold, to have that nice little fun fold there. And then we've got our piece of basic white, and that's going to go on the inside there and cover all of that up. So we might as well do that now. Again, having that border all the way around. So there you go. That's going to create like a 3-fold card. What's a quokka? A quokka is an Australian bird, basically, but it's I think it's only found on Rottnest, isn't it? I'm not quite sure. It's an endangered bird, I think. Right there, no, quokka's not a bird. Where am I going with this? Quokka's like a little marsupial. That's better. Type into Google and it'll tell you what a quokka is. Let me have a look. Don't know why I was thinking bird. Excuse me. Yeah. Oh, these are, I don't know whether you can see that. He's only quite tiny. I don't think I've ever actually seen one except for in a zoo. I don't know how correct those are because they're sort of like, they're very cute. But it's a little marsupial. That's a good way of describing it, a hamster crossed with a kangaroo. They're 2 different sizes. Kangaroos are tall, whereas these are only, I think, are only sort of like, probably about that much in height, I would say. As I said, I haven't seen one for a while because I've only ever seen one in a zoo because I haven't been to Rottnest Island. So, cute little animals. Okay, let's get back to our card before I get myself into trouble. Okay, so here's our image, and we're going to pop that on there just like that. Actually, before we do that, we're going to do a bit of stamping on this. So, as I said, we're doing this a little bit the same as our original card, so we need to stamp. I'm getting better. So we need to stamp one of them about there, and another one at about there. We can also stamp our birds on this one. Keep turning it around. I've got it in the wrong direction. So we want to put our birds onto there like so. I'll tell you what, this ink pad's a lot easier to handle than that Stampin' Spot. The Stampin' Spot's very juicy. So there's that. So we've got that onto there. Now we're going to adhere this onto here. There you go. Nicole's got all the information. I think from now on I'll just leave it all to you guys to inform everybody rather than me trying to do it. I'll just stick to my cards and my scrapbooking. Pop that onto there like that. Give that a good push down. Now we do need to stamp our sentiment. So again, we're going to stamp our happy birthday on here. Now, no, I didn't. Was thinking of using the blue, but I'm going to continue with using Peaceful Pine. And we're going to stamp our happy birthday. So we're still using all the components from our kit. We've just added a bit of cardstock. And actually we need one more thing to stamp. Take that off. Older, wiser and better. I do like that one. So what's everybody got planned for their weekend? About 47 minutes hold an ultimate selfie, apparently. They look happy, but will bite. Yeah, I don't think I want to put anything near it. What do I think of the magnetic ink pads? I like them, except I've got to try to remember to not try to push them open like we did with our old ones. I haven't tried them in my storage unit behind me as yet because I've got them all sitting here on my desk. So far, yes, I do like them. I think they're going to be a lot better for a class. You can't sort of, I've always liked them in the part when we had them in the past because you didn't get all that oozing around. Excuse me, I just got to wipe my nose. Won't be a moment. You don't get all that oozing when you push. If someone pushes down very hard on an ink pad, you won't have all that ink oozing out. So that's fine. I think it's just going to take a little while just to get used to it. I've put my label on the bottom here. I've put it on the inside on both of them so I can see. Yeah, I think it's good. It's great for stacking. Got a few of them stacking up on top of each other. They don't slip. Let me just grab these ones here. I've been working on a few scrapbook pages, so they're sort of. But they all sort of. I just lifted all those together. I wouldn't lift the first one and expect it to hold all the others, but yeah, no, look, that sort of feels pretty solid unit. You don't have anything slipping away, which is sometimes, because those, you sort of had to have them sitting there and, yeah. I think storage-wise, if you don't have something to put them into, then, they will stack quite well together. I can't see them not fitting in what I've got over there because they're narrower but slightly longer. I like them. I can't see a problem with them. I think they're going to be great. It's just going to be, it's like anything else. It's like anything. We get something new, we've got to learn, learn how to use it and go run with it. So, yeah. Now I'm just going to pop on the top of this just a very, very fine bead. I don't want too much. I just want a very fine bead of glue, because I'm going to adhere this sentiment over the top and turn it upside down. Just give that a little bit of a press, because we're going to have, this is going to be hanging off a little bit. So it's going to be sitting down here and hanging past that piece there. Yeah. I mean, I got rid of all mine, Nicole, when a young person I knew, she started with Stampin' Up, but, well, and she didn't, well, she started doing classes with me, and she's someone I knew from when she was from about 14, 15, and I gave her all my old ones and bought all new ones. So I'm not going to be rushing out to, well, we can't, won't have all the new ones, I think, until next year sometime. But I will still be just buying them in dribs and drabs. There's certain ones that I know that I'm not happy with the foam. The foam's gone funny. So that's another thing I think is going to be really good. We won't have that issue where the foam looks like it's gone mouldy. I don't think it ever went mouldy. I think it was just the ink wasn't, it had gone blotchy in the pad, and it just gave that real mottled look to the ink pad. Because I found if you went over it with a spoon or something, the back of a spoon, it sort of got rid of a lot of that. But we never had that in the previous ones with the old pads we had. So I think I'm looking forward to that not happening again with these ones. So that'll be a big bonus. Now we're going to pop this on the push bike onto there. So let's grab some more dimensionals. And I'm just going to cut some of these up, just to be able to use some of these that I've got. So, yeah, no, I think it's good. It's just getting used to change, which is what I started saying before. For some people, it's going to be hard. And but, I mean, once the change comes through, I think people are going to be happier with the new ink pads. So don't think that's going to be much of a problem. So I'm going to pop some dimensionals on the back of that. Pop our bike onto there. Now, this is just going to be adhered to. I probably could have put that bike a little bit higher up, actually. Don't know how well I'm going to be getting this off. I might have too much dimensional on there. Yep, I'm not going to even try it. So I'm just going to I wish I hadn't have put that so high up. Let's see if I can get that, lift that. Just gently ease it. No, not easing that at all. Okay, let's just work out where we can put this, because it's going to do what I don't like. Be down the bottom. It can go up the top, maybe. Or we can pop that into. No, don't like that. Be very careful about where you pop your bike. I'm doing too much talking and not enough concentrating. You know what? I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to go back to my ink pad, and I'm going to stamp directly onto here, because I don't really want to have that going down too low, and I am going to stamp that right there, because there's no reason why you can't. There you go. rather than trying to find a spot. So I should have had this up higher, then that could have sat down at the bottom of the bike. But there you go. That one I'll pop aside for another time. So there's the card I made a couple of weeks ago. Here's a new card here. If what we could possibly do is, let's see if we pop that into there. Is that going to get covered up? It will. I don't know whether I like that sitting there like that. I think I'm not going to worry about it. We could actually pop another, just another one of these. Just there. Oh, folks, look what I've done. I popped that there. I forgot that I had a stamp on there. Oh, well. Now, how can we get rid of that? Let's think. What can we do? If I'm going to do anything today, it's going to be done today, isn't it? Guess what? That's going to go right there. See, I was meant to put this sentiment on there anyway. There we go. That's going to hide that. Make sure when you... Yeah, I could have made it into more of a border pattern on the inside. I thought of that very quickly, but I thought, nah, that'll just go there. So that's going to hide that. Be a nice little surprise. Oh, dear, I think I've got to quit today. Quick while I'm ahead. Oh, I've got one thing to put on here, and that is the little embellishments, because this actually originally did have a couple of these on here. So let's pop this one here. Pop another one. You could have with this card as well put a magnetic hinge in there if you wanted to. I'll pop another one just there. So there you go. Let's just move all of this out of the road. So we've got card number 1, which I did a couple of weeks ago. We've got today's card there. We've got card I did. So let me move those two up there. Card we did a couple of weeks ago, and today's card there. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I'm not even going to try and attempt doing the third one because I've been trying to work out what I'm going to do to it, but I haven't worked it out as yet. Now, I did mention before the dies. You can purchase with this the dies, and I've got it here, and I'll open that up and show you. But this is what I was having an issue with. This is the die for like the sale sign. So I thought this was quite good. Comes in a little packet like this. It's a tiny little cellophane pack. It's got a good, strong, sturdy cover. So that's nice. And then you've got all your dies in here. So you've got this sign piece here. Got the word wonderful. And then these 3 dies go with, and I'm not quite sure whether you could use wonderful with this. I have seen it used. But the other three dies do go with the other sets coming out in this quarter. But I just had a little bit of an issue with these. It just felt like it was just going to be too big, cover up too much of my card real estate, because, I mean, that sort of covers up quite a bit. But I'm hoping that I can work out a way of using it on... trying to work out what's happening there on this particular card. So I've got to play with this one as yet and work out how I can use it, but it sort of covers up a lot of that walkway. Don't don't like it on that side because it looks like it's falling off on that side. So it may have to just be a longer card where, if I can make a square card or a slimline card where that can be used. I have to play and work that one out, but that won't be happening today. So anyway, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed these two cards. Let me pop these two up the top up here. Again, see, they're the ones that we made the other week. They're the ones we've made today. I hope you've enjoyed seeing what you can do, playing with more of a fun fold rather than changing the complete layouts of the cards. But, yeah, I quite like them. I love this one here. I really do like how that just pops up. And probably I could have done that little tab in there in the green, but I don't think it matters too much. So, yeah, that's what I'm thinking, Nicole. It's probably more of a landscape. So thank you very much for joining. I'm going to go now and have myself some lunch. So take care. Have a lovely, lovely weekend. And we'll see you next Friday when we create something else. And as soon as I figure out what I'm going to do with that die, I'll let you know. Okay, thanks for watching.